What is poppin', people? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. We've got some Armour, not gameplay, but deck profile. Everyone expects an Armour deck profile from me by the time that a new set rolls around, and this set is no exclusion. I've been testing this for a while. I've actually ended up on a list that was like halfway between one of my last lists and the list I was initially going to build. I'm really happy with it. Did pretty well at locals recently with it, and yeah, testing has gone really well. Maybe it's not the final iteration of it. We'll see. Maybe by the time store or regionals get a little bit closer if there's any changes, but we're gonna do what we do as always and jump straight into the video. So to get into it, we're going to start off with Ukomon as the one of. It's the one you're legally allowed to play, and I know a lot of people like go 50-50 on whether they like Ukomons in Armor Rush because it's not a Veemon, but I think the speed he gets off and how like passively he can generate like value if you use him is really useful. Then we're going to have 4 of the promo Veemon, of course, you know, great card, reducing the cost of the Evo if you have a tamer, and the draw. Sometimes early, the draw helps you find the other pieces. So sometimes I will go into him over the Ice Cream Veemon. Ice Cream Veemon just power creeps this card, honestly. Not needing a tamer means you always get the reduction. It not being once per turn means when you combo it with Armour Digivolution means you're going to get the reduction every single time. And plus 2k DP during your opponent's turn is great. It being 2 color also does matter because for once I forgot. Digimon starts with the eggs, and the eggs, as always, are Demi-V. It's kind of a foregone conclusion, almost to the point of not even mentioning them. This does mean that sometimes your Veemon gets a little bit of extra DP if it gets D-Digivolve down or anything like that. We do have 1 extra 2k DP inherit, the reason we're not playing any 5th egg or anything like that. Did mess around with like a Puyoyomon as the egg for a little bit, as like a 3-2 split, so to help your armor matchups where you'd be able to swing, pitch, and armor and end up stripping a source, so that way when you were trying to play for board you could actually fight more aggressively, but you wouldn't be able to use that with this. This has still made it as a one-of, and we're on 2 and 2 of the EX1 Veemon and the BT12. A lot of people really like a lot of BT12 with your promo Davis, stuff like that. I want all of my Veemon to be utility pieces, was the main thing that I was looking for. I want as many ways to effectively end up reducing the cost of an Evo by having, like, you know, this next to a body passively generating, reduction, unsuspend effectively being a reduction if it's the second armor, stuff like that. So I wanted all my Veemon to be utility pieces, and this was just an extra searcher. I don't think search is as important now that you have other ways of being able to gain value. So for our 3s, we're on 4, 5, 9, 13 evolvable rookies, 14 in total. So very rare that you actually end up on a hand that can't be playable. And again, if you are torn between the 2 of them, I prefer to get the promo Veemon down early if it means getting the extra draw. For our level 4s, we're on 1 and 1 of Flame Dramon because you'll take Flame Dramon from my cold dead hands. The promo Flame feels a little bit power crept based on some of the other armors are in the list, but it can be a great way to proc a Magna on X. And it basically, both these cards make it so you can kind of still keep tempo and keep damage on if targets are getting changed, which is pretty cool. The 2k landing until the end of your opponent's turn does allow you to just continuously be big and fight for board. Fire Rocket goes off crazy, and again, if this gets blocked, it gets to unsuspend, so still can get some serious value out of this Flame Dramon. Then the actual best card in the deck, we're on 4 of the Lydramon. Being able to suspend anything catches a lot of people off guard. A lot of people are used to just, you know, level 4s being suspended, but no, now you can basically fight anything, a big space station, whatever you want, and then it has native piercing, which, you know, fans of the channel know that I was on Lightning Blade last format in order to give piercing to bodies like this, and now I've just got it native on a body and the plus 2k. So once again, Andrew deck building has turned into intended game plan. So yeah, now we got Lightning Blade on a body, which is fantastic. Brilliant card. It pushes a lot of your early damage. And then for your Magnamons, we're on 3 of the Cheater out of security, fight for board, all the good stuff. Really good card to have publicly revealed whilst you have Armor Digivolution active to play defensively. We'll go over a couple of the lines. Obviously, Armor is Armor, but yeah, there's a couple of cool lines that this toolbox can kind of do. So we've got Strip and Bounce, Shrink, and then Getting Massive, and you just have to figure out what it is that you need. A lot of the times you'll end up committing one of these Magnas as just the first Magna, and then you figure out what you need from there. I'm unfortunately not on Davis Ken or Armor Texture as a little spoiler, so you do have to keep these as your secondary Magna. And one of the things I find as well is if you're going for secondary Magna, it's better to go into this Shrink one, even if it's on an empty board, because you will if you are trying to have them crash and you don't have your Davises live or your Davises have been spent, you're more likely to crash if you go into this one. Then obviously if you go into the BT8 Magna, you become massive, and then you kind of give up pressure. So recognizing that you need to go into the BT21 guy because he doesn't get any bigger can be quite useful. So these are our level 4 lineup. And we are going to finish out the Magnas with 2 Magna X. I want it to be on 0. Honestly, I really want it to be on 0, but the more and more testing I've done into stuff like Shine Greymon, into Gammamon, Galacti, the level 4 toolbox is fun, but you do just sometimes just need to make an unaffected guy that just sits there and wins the game. He's still a lot of damage. With the wall, often you can get a second stack out and then use that as your fire rocket thing to have this guy swing. I had this week the Magnamon swing for 3 checks because I ended up with double fire rocket in hand. Just gave him all 3 checks, was able to proc his protection before swinging, swung all 3 and had a level 4 finish it out. So Magnamon X to go over what is 11 Magnamon targets feels like you get away with it, and technically there can be more targets if you do find them. So yeah, that's the level 4s and 6. And then the last Digimon in the deck is going to be 1 Death X. This is optional. I was also on a Zudo at some point, but I've kind of cut the Zudo now. The Death X sometimes just catches people if they go super wide. This format does have a couple of Tamer heavy decks. But yeah, it's just a good, sometimes big guy forcing security, sometimes a card that can just catch people off guard, but feel free to cut this for anything really. We're kind of talking about tech slots at that point. Speaking of tech slots, we're on Louis. Where there's Zuko, there's Louis, and sometimes he's the extra bit of damage. Sometimes you do just hit people for 4 checks and you don't have that kind of like hybrid for game. This is your kind of hybrid for game if you manage to get this in the back. So Louis is our first Tamer, and then we're on 3 of the new Davis and 1 of the promo. So a little bit light on Tamers, which again is where the Ice Cream Veemon has kind of power crept the promo one. This Davis is the one that kind of enables your game plan the most. It's the suspend it to pitch the top card of your Armour to draw 1, gain 1, which it enables a bunch of other lines. It activates Armour Digivolution and is just really, really useful for kind of getting extra. Start of main if your opponent has a Digimon, you gain a memory. So between this and Promo Davis, you can sometimes kind of like build extra memory from there. Really, really evil card to hit out of security. And there are sometimes ways that you can set it up for cheaper than its steep 4 cost. I'm not on 4 just because I felt like 4 was kind of unnecessary because it is a 4 cost Tamer at the end of the day. If I was to try and make more space, I would, instead of putting a 4th Davis from BT21, I'd probably end up on a BT8 Davis Ken. But there just really wasn't space. And talking to other Armour players as well, we want to put it. It's like their 51st card, but it's just never the 50th. But yeah, we're on a light number of Tamers, which does also affect some of our options as well. With the options, we're on 2 boost. Boost is always good. I don't always end up using it all the time though, because Armour Digivolution, the new card we got, reveal top 3, add a Davis and a free, and then trash the rest. Really, really good card. The fact that it trashes is crazy because it sets up your Magnamons way, way sooner. This card was crazy when I hadn't read the card properly and I was bottom decking stuff. It's even crazier now that it trashes stuff. Obviously, you have to be careful in some of your like mill matchups or whatever, but really, really amazing card. Seems to pop out of security frequently when it's a 4 of. And I find that I use it more often than I use Boost. Boost is usually when I've already got an Armour Digivolution live that I'll commit a Boost, because obviously, you know, as much as you are cheating memory, if your opponent chokes you to 1 and you don't have the reduction live, then you're not actually being able to make a play and still fight for board. So Boost is still really, really useful for kind of like extending, especially when you want to drop Fire Rockets. I want to be on more of them, but we don't have space. If we would cut Magna X and that, we'd have more space for more Fire Rockets, but 2 seems to get the job done. You really only need 1 in order to kind of, you know, flashbang someone's entire life savings. Yeah, I dropped this on an 11k Lydramon. It pierced over a body for 2 checks, died on the 2nd check, turned into Magnamon, hit for 2 more checks, and then had something finished for game. So, and that was off of just 1 Fire Rocket. I had another game where I again double Fire Rocket onto the Magna X, hit for 3, and that was game. It does delete blockers, but it's kind of not super relevant in security. It's not really a format where there's a lot of blockers that are actually swinging at security, so it's kind of dead there. But yeah, 2 was fine. And for the final 1-ofs, we're on 1 Awakening because we are on Magna X to increase the number of your targets, and also with Shine being such an important matchup. Sometimes you're using Shine to get into this. Sometimes you're using this to turn a body into another Magnamon. One of my Shine games, I actually ended up turning a Digimon into just a BT8 Magna. It only gained 2k, but what was most important was I wasn't getting shrunk by the Shine Greymons, which meant I could actively contest the Marcus to keep my security safe. So that way when he was trying to, you know, hit me for 2 checks, 3 checks, 4 checks on one of his Marcuses, I was able to like play defensively with Awakening and then use Armor Digivolution to replenish the armors once something had purged down. And then the 2 cards that are the reason that you might have been like, oh, why is there no jamming Veemon? These cards are why there's no jamming Veemon. So Isle of Adventure, this is the card that some people are on significantly more of. I've not liked this card as much in testing as other people have. Main thing is take top card of security and then all of your Digimon that are level 3 or higher. So everything, gain plus 2k on all turns. And the security effect is you may play a Tamer from your hand without paying the cost, which means that you get your Davises out for free. So you spend the 2 in order to get a 4-cost Davis when they hit security. And if they don't want to hit security and give you the free Tamer, then you get an all turns DP buff, making your armors massive. What it does mean is stuff like your Digimon will gain its 2k DP when it digivolves, you know, be an 11k turn when you've got the red Veemons. And then when it makes it back to you next turn, sure, you don't have your when digivolving, but you've got the plus 2k here native, so you're still massive as a way of kind of like staying huge on board. And then Genai's House is your turn, 3k, but it goes to the bottom. So you usually can try and set up Genai as early as possible, and then Island you try and use kind of reactively when you feel like it's a good way to set up a Tamer. Since I'm on fewer of them, that's why I'm on 1 Genai, 1 Island Adventure. I feel like you can't really cut Island as much as I would love to just run 2 Genai. The plus 3k means you never really actually have to run jamming Veemon, because even with something like Knights, you're getting big enough now that you can actually swing over a lot of the Knights without needing jamming Veemon. So that is why I'm on none of them, because my bodies often are massive. And Armor Digivolution means that if I would purge during a check, instead of having to check naked as a Veemon, I just turn straight back into another armor to continue the checks. So Genai's House, really, really cool card. Plays a level 3 Digimon card from your trash. So that can be your Ukomons, it can be your Veemons, really whatever, popping out of security. I tend to find that Island shows up just at the wrong time every time, but it just makes no sense to not play it in current armor. So this is my 50. This is what I'm probably going to be playing at some more serious events. It's done really well so far in testing and locally, so I'm really, really happy with it. And if you were happy with this video, hit the like button and subscribe. There'll be footage of it because I made it to finals. They'll be coming out soon after this. We're delaying a little bit of footage because it has some lists that need to be keep seeky until the Pontypool store regional. Once that comes back, I'll be able to release those. You get to see some of how this deck moves a little bit, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it. This is what I'm playing at locals basically. Yeah, thanks for watching.